6 therapists total, which
6
wasn't
therapists.
terrible. Which
Yeah.
wasn't terrible for Little Rock. That was pretty good. Yeah.
Is Little Rock little?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of spread out, so we didn't know if we would get a huge turnout. So we were happy. It's six more PTs that know what to do with Duchenne, so we'll take it.
Most definitely. Most definitely. All right, guys, here we go. Share to your page. And we're streaming live. Hi, guys. It's Monday. Boo. Sorry, Doug. I usually cheer for Leona's on Fridays, but it's Monday.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So I get negative Lindy.
Yes, negative Nelly Lindy. That's correct. Here. And he's a dedicated dude, man. He was traveling all over the United States this weekend. And he's still here with us today. He didn't, beg off because of jet lag or having to feed the chickens or anything. So I'm impressed today, Doug, but only today. Only today.
Well, thanks. I'm here. I love it. I'll be here anytime I can be here.
Awesome, awesome. For those of you guys who don't know Doug, apart from being a chicken aficionado, he is also a PT experienced in Duchenne muscular dystrophy. He's been, doing this since the late 90s. Owns his own clinic, been working with Cure Duchenne in any and everywhere is where he will do PT. He's kind of an addict. So playgrounds, where else? Little Rock, let's see, Austin, schools, daycares. You kind of get the gist. Oh, you had an opportunity to do PT on the flight, Doug. Did you take it?
I didn't. There was a kid that was on the flight, but security and all of that stuff. I was just going to grab them and start doing PT, but I didn't know how well that would go. And I knew that we have this today. And so, I did not.
Likely excuse. All right, guys. Well, we have our DMD celebrity DJ Kimball with us today. Thank you, DJ. I agree. Thank you for taking time out of your busy Monday and joining us. DJ will be typing in the chat today his question, and we'll see if we can stump the PT or if we might have to choose a different question.
Wait, is that now the goal of this, is stump the PT? I thought it was just ask. It was much nicer, ask the PT.
Once you said you didn't want to know the questions ahead of time, I was like, okay, I got to do this. Let's turn it into Stump the PT. Thank you, DJ. That is fun to be here, huh? Fun. Sorry, guys, I'm blanking. I was on about 4 or 5 hours of sleep probably last night. So y'all got the tired Lindy, the negative tired Lindy today. My banter might be a little bit off. My apologies.
I would think that would be a lot for you, 4 to 5 hours of sleep.
See, my dog, go ahead.
I'm not saying that in a bad way. You say I'm a busy guy. You do a lot. You do a lot for this community, and so we just want to make sure that you're well rested. That's all.
Yeah. Thank you. If anybody can convince my daughter to sleep at night, that would be amazing. I would share one of the money trees that I have in the backyard with you. That would be amazing because she's not so good at sleeping. But it's all right. One day, right? One day.
It'll happen.
So they say. Okay, so let's see. DJ, are you typing in your question or He's such a pro at this, guys. This dude can multitask like nobody's business. Okay, cool. Yes, he is typing. Here we go. His question is, what are the things to look for when finding a quality equipment provider when it comes to finding the proper wheelchair?
Yeah, this is a big one, and this is one that I know a lot of people struggle with personally. I think DJ, I think you is something that you're currently kind of struggling with as well. So there are a couple of things when you're looking, it really is no different than when you're trying to find a physical therapist or even a doctor. Um, it comes down to who you feel comfortable with. And a lot of it is communication. Pretty much most of the, if you're lucky enough to have a selection of companies, wherever you live, there's a number of companies. Pretty much most companies can get most pieces of equipment. So it's not a car dealership. So you're saying perhaps you should say knowledgeable as well. So yeah, so we'll get into that in a second. So you want to find somebody that's good, you want to find somebody that's knowledgeable. Yes, hopefully we get both of those pieces of the puzzle. That doesn't always happen. But pretty much all companies can get the same pieces of equipment made by different companies. So it's not like a car dealership where, you go to Ford, they only sell Ford. You go to Chrysler, they only sell Chrysler. These guys can get pretty much anything. So if there are like 4 different types of power wheelchairs or 3 different bath chairs that you're looking at, they can get any of those. So the biggest thing that I look for, and I would say even more than knowledge, DJ, is communication. For me, the biggest thing is communication, because I have a decent knowledge of equipment, and I don't always know every single thing that's out there in terms of equipment. It changes. It's hard for me to know, but I have an idea of what I want, or what I want the piece of equipment to do. Whether it's let's just take a power chair as an example. I might know. Okay, I know that that for this person, I want a power chair. I want it to have tilt. I want it to have a seat elevator. We don't need a molded seat. We need, this kind of seat or that kind of seat. So I have a good idea of the direction that I want it to go. And I use that equipment vendor to say, okay, with the list that you've told me and the list that's important to DJ and his family, here are maybe 2 different chairs that I think would suit those needs. And then hopefully they can get a demo of those things so we can try it out. But there are many processes along the way, from getting a demo to submitting the paperwork to insurance, to getting the paperwork and the evaluation from the physical therapist, to submitting it to insurance. If something gets denied, letting letting the physical therapist know that it's been denied. Do we want to appeal it? What's the process for appealing? There's a lot of communication there. There are a lot of places for the ball to get dropped. And so the better companies, in my opinion, are the ones that communicate and have this good process or this good flow. So if they're really knowledgeable as well, to me, that's a bonus. That's not always a complete necessity, because I know where to find the information if I need, or I have other colleagues that I can kind of talk about this with. Hey, what's your thought about this chair versus this chair? But that communication piece is so important, because you could be talking about getting a piece of equipment, the whole process may be taking 90 days as opposed to taking a year or longer, because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So the best way that I think, again, if you're lucky enough to have a choice of different equipment vendors, the best way I think is word of mouth. Ask other parents, ask therapists. If you're going to like a neuromuscular or muscular dystrophy clinic, ask the clinic providers, who do you think is good? I have a choice between these three companies. Have you guys used any of these companies before? You know, ask the therapist that's there, what do you think? So to me, word of mouth is the best way to find those, that company that can satisfy those different things that we talked about.
So I'm gonna jump in with a question because Doug, I was so surprised, little old naive me growing up in a big city, about what you said once when it comes to small towns and there being limited equipment providers, how they don't always have to work real hard to do well to keep your. Do you
Yeah.
explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I can, but I mean, you hit it in a nutshell. It's kind of, they, they, I don't want to use bad words, so I'm not gonna use bad words. They have you by the testicles. It's, you know, it's kind of, yeah, no, I'm sorry, we can edit that out, but it's a little bit true. That's what I found, that in towns where there's maybe just one company, it's like that lack of competition. And I'm not saying this is always the case. I've been places where there are good companies, caring companies, and it's just that one company. But sometimes they kind of get lazy, like there's nobody challenging them. They know they're the only game in town. So they don't really have to work very hard, you know, or if they don't, if something's not going to make them a whole lot of money, then maybe they'll just say, oh, it's not covered, or we don't do that, or we can't get that, because they know it's going to be a hard fought battle, or it's going to take a lot of time or multiple appeals. So yeah, DJ, you've been there for sure. It's an unfortunate circumstance. You know, there's not a great answer to it. I mean, that's why I like when there are a couple of different companies, because it sort of forces them to be on their game. And the other thing too that I wanna let everybody know is, you have a choice as the customer. Um, you don't have to, if your doctor says, okay, well, you need a new seating system for your wheelchair, or you need a new bath chair. I'm going to write a prescription. I'm going to send it over to ABC supply company and they'll get that for you. You don't have to go there. You don't, it's your choice whether you use that company or you use any other company. Most companies take most insurances. So find out first if you're not comfortable with a company, or if you've heard bad things about where maybe the doctor is making the referral, then know that you don't have to go to that company.
So I have another question. Surprise, surprise. So if you do start in a relationship with a company and you find out they're not that great, are there any repercussions for requesting another contact person or going over their head, or
No,
anything like sticky there that parents need to be aware of?
no, I mean, the biggest thing is like any time that we want to maybe switch to a different doctor in the same practice, or switch to a, you know, a different dental hygienist at the place that we usually go to because we like this one better. The only risk is really, it's sometimes can be an uncomfortable conversation. But I mean, this is so important for a lot of people. You know, getting this piece of equipment, like in DJ's case, his wheelchair, this is how he gets around. I mean, this is so important. And so it's not like, if this doesn't go well, that's okay, not a big deal. It's a big deal. So you are always entitled to say, you know, I'm not getting the service that I need. Can I talk to the owner? Can I talk to who's in charge of the clinic? And in larger companies, the more nationwide equipment companies, there's always somebody higher up that you can go to. And my experience has been that in those larger nationwide companies, those people that are more at the top, those regional managers or whatever, they want to have a good reputation and they want to provide good service and they want the name of their company to be synonymous with caring. And so if you're low, and they don't always know what's happening at that local level, especially if it is maybe a smaller branch and they don't get out there to check on things. So if it's a larger company, a larger parent organization, and you're not getting the service or the satisfaction that you need, go higher up. Go higher up and say, look, and just and be prepared to let them know what's going on. Look, we requested this, back in February. Here it is now, August 8th, and we still don't have a response. I've called 6 times. I haven't gotten it back. So you're not just, that's what they want to know. You're not just saying, well, I'm mad and I'm unhappy, but here's what happened. This is the length of time that transpired before I heard anything.
Yeah, that's great. I'm one of those people who keep notes with every single medical phone call in the spiral binder. And, of course, my husband makes fun of me. But man, that is so helpful whenever you are going to a company and it's like boom, 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 boom. Help me, instead of just, yelling
and everything is so data driven and systems driven that it is good to have just even like a conversation notebook, like you're saying, and you don't have to log all the details, but spoke with Dave at this company on this date, and he told me that I'll hear back then, or just a little note so you can go back and refer. Because when there's so many specialists involved and so many different specialties and different moving parts, you think you're going to remember these different conversations and when, but it's hard to. So I applaud you for keeping that notebook. I think that's a great way to keep things organized. And then if things are not going smoothly, you have something to refer to.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Doug. And our wonderful sponsor, Leona Phyllis of Phyllis Law Firm, she always encourages me. She's like, Lindy, follow up with an email. So it's typed out and at the bottom say, do you agree with this? So that you got some confirmation from them in writing as well. Our wonderful DJ is wondering if he's too nice sometimes. It's a fine line.
Yeah, I mean, let me say that as as a PT and working with parents, working in the schools, working in different environments, I think it's great to be nice. And it's certainly when you're approaching somebody, if you're coming at them, whether it's initially or anytime, aggressively and kind of full of anger, it certainly does put people on the defensive. But I still think it's possible you can be nice, but you can be firm. I mean, if a parent challenges me on something, or, why are you doing that? Or you said that you were going to follow up on this. Did you ever follow up on that? That's fine. You have to, I think as someone that's in the medical field, you have to be prepared that you're going to screw up sometimes. And you have to say, I dropped the ball. So it's okay to be kind. You don't want to be a pushover, because this is important to you. This is not, some side little thing that maybe makes your life a tiny bit better. I mean, this is something that's really important. So you can be nice, but be firm too.
Let's see, DJ, if you have any other wrap-up thoughts, please toss that in. While you're doing that, I do want to say that, man, DJ, I'm so grateful that you brought this topic up today. I've had a few moms lamenting to me, like, why does it take so long for medically necessary equipment to get to our families when you can just, go buy a custom-made car and they'll get it to you, whippity split. What's that term?
Lickety split.
Thank you. Lickety split. Thank you. And she's like, it's just not right. It's not fair. Money drives, custom and luxury, but dire need, people just kind of twiddle their thumbs.
Yeah. So a couple of quick comments about that. One,
Sure.
It just, unfortunately, part of the process is it takes a while because there are many steps and there's paperwork that has to be gotten from the doctor, from the physical therapist. So there are many steps to it. Um, but also just stuff with the pandemic, it's harder to get parts. And let's just use again a power wheelchair as an example. When that comes in, there might be parts coming from 8 different areas that it all comes to the equipment company and they have to put it together. So sometimes 7 of those parts are there and they're still waiting on the 8th one that takes a bit longer. And then also there are things that go on behind the scenes. This is why communication is important, because there are times that I hear from the equipment vendor and they say, hey, they approved the chair, but they denied the tilt. And then I'll write a letter of justification for the tilt. And then that goes to insurance and then it comes back and they want a little bit more information on X, Y, and Z. So all this is going on behind the scenes, but I try to always tell the equipment people, just let the parent know, let them know that the questions were asked, I'm writing letters. So the equipment companies, the insurance companies are scrutinizing pieces of equipment a lot more. And so it's important that your equipment company and your physical therapist try to write as much stuff of justification as they can from the beginning, because insurance companies are asking, why this headrest? Why this type of armrest? Why swing away footrests as opposed to single plate footrests? So it just takes, it takes a long time.
And I'm just going to give a plug real quick for Jet Foundation. Hopefully they're not going to be inundated with requests, but for those of you guys who have been fighting for a stander for your child, or it's just your first time and you just want it one and done, you can contact Perlita. She has got a fantastic letter that is a shoe-in with insurance companies. Perlita, I think it's Cordova or Dana Sachs, and they'll both get you that letter, and that should make things go very quickly. It's actually written by somebody high up in the insurance company. I learned about it on one of their porch nights. So,
and that stuff is great, because no longer as a therapist can we say like, DJ needs a seat elevator because, you know, it's going to improve the quality of his life. We have to justify all this stuff to the nth degree. So yeah, the more prepared you can be, the better.
Awesome. All right, let's see. DJ said, I believe Doug has answered the questions very well, and he should be good for today. And that's perfect timing because my son is here for Mama. I'll be right up for you. Yes, love, you can. All right, just so the world knows he's going to go play on the Switch. Okay. Well, that's great. Always a pleasure, both DJ and Doug. Thank you for coming out. And I guess that's it.
Thanks,
Back
Lindy.
to
Thanks,
Monday.
DJ.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.